Yo, what up?
Um,
I'm Chuck, and I'm an LA Lakers fan.
So I guess that's about 50 cents a rib, huh?
Yeah, about.
Let me get one.
Right on. One order. One order ribs.
No. One rib.
One rib.
I sure am hungry.
and I'm Ronnie J, and I'm a Clippers fan.
I want some chips, that's all. All I want some chips. See? The chip, that's it. Turn that over, man. It's burning. It's burning. Turn it over. It's burning. I just want some chips.
And together we are LA Divided.
NBA All-Star. All right, welcome back to another episode of LA Divided. I'm here with your boy, Good Luck Chuck.
What up?
All right, and once again, I'm back at it. Ronnie J here. We back to cover the NBA All-Star weekend events, starting off with the celebrity game. The celebrity game was just a panel of celebrities. We talked about it before. It was some names on that list that we really didn't understand or didn't know. Wasn't the popular names that we are normally accustomed to. But nevertheless, the game went off, and I thought it was a success. Based upon some of the celebrity games that we've been getting in the past. What's your initial thoughts on a celebrity all-star game before we get down to the list of we won't get down to the list of celebrities again, but what was your initial reaction to the game itself?
Well, to the game itself, I mean, and I'll just start off by saying that the events in between the quarters definitely made this entertaining. They were doing like a skills challenge. They did a three-point contest. Anders and Verjao, I think he won just by hitting 1 3 or 2 maybe. So those were entertaining in their own right. The fact that they were, stopping in between the game to do that. In my notes, I pretty much had that Myles Garrett, he pretty much won the evening. I mean, that guy was a beast, and he just looked like, he was like a prisoner out there, that
was a definitely familiar,
like a runaway prisoner out there, man. It was like on the shackles and shit, and he just ripped through him, man. He just looked like the Hulk, bro. I'm sorry,
No, we definitely played the game and to where football players will come in and play pickup games with, and that's exactly what it is. A football player on the basketball court is one of the most dangerous things to a real basketball player, So I mean, they fit in the celebrity games, but as far as like the reaction or how you just put that out there, that's 100% because he was just out there playing bully ball with everybody, and
like a pit bull on the loose, exactly.
Yeah, so between Garrett and the high jumper, I'm trying to look at his name here, Gianmarco Tamberi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Listen, if you play back the All-Star game, I don't know if they're gonna have any of these highlights, but after his first dunk that he got on that lob, he actually caught a tip jam. And if you noticed, one of the female players, I believe she was a model. I don't think she was a WNBA player, but her reaction, she kind of stopped and looked like, wait a minute, who just did that? And then she just had a shocked look, like she wasn't expecting that at all. I mean, me personally, when you looked at the skill level or the assumed skill level of the players, you definitely wouldn't have saw that coming, with the exception of knowing, that he was a high jumper. But I can tell, like, from the time that the game started, he was absolutely looking for an opportunity to get in a dunk. And as far as to see it from like a non-football player, like I think it was like T.O. Terrell had a dunk in the All-Star game, celebrity game before. So to see it from somebody outside of a basketball, football scope, and I mean, an Olympian in his own right, it was interesting. I mean, I definitely found the game a little bit more interesting than I thought it was, because I remember on the jump when we first talked about it, I was like, this wasn't gonna work at all. because I was just kind of looking at some names of who I knew wasn't players, but I guess they was out there to represent Cleveland. But all in all, man, All-Star, the Celebrity All-Star game, I thought it worked out pretty good. It's Friday night started off good, which led into the Rising Stars Challenge. But before we get to the Rising Stars,
before we move on there, because I would be remiss if I didn't mention MGK, obviously a Cleveland native. And he ended up, I think, introducing the East All-Stars, if I'm not mistaken, on Sunday.
On Sunday,
yeah. And he mentioned that he was, it was his host city. So that kind of, tied in, and it made sense. I didn't mention it, but I do remember that MGK came out as a huge basketball fan and fan of Cleveland, of course, that year that Cleveland had won the championship. He had like the anthem for that Cleveland team. Well, at least not in LeBron's eyes, but in his own eyes, he had a song, "Till I Die." That was a pretty popping song, actually. So I just wanted to point that out. Obviously, the MVP, the Peloton dude, Alex Toussaint. I didn't really I know he hit a couple jumpers. I mean, he looked like he was out there. Obviously he's in shape if he's a Peloton, Peloton representative or instructor. And RJ and Perk were pretty entertaining as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're familiar with both of them, from their playing days. Of course, they're right around our age. I think with RJ being just a little older than us, a touch bit older than us, and Perk is right around our age. So these are dudes that I think, when we think about the talent that is Chuck and Kenny, right? And how Shaq is incorporated in that mix. ESPN is doing a very good job with a lot of their personalities and how they're implementing these people. And I'm just really, really proud of those dudes and how they've been able to really hold an audience and just be super entertaining, because it's a dynamic with both of them that just mix as well. I know they're on the NBA show as well together. And so I like seeing those two dudes together. Sprinkle a little JJ Redick in there as well when he's on ESPN. I thought the celebrity game was a success.
Yeah, way better than what I thought it was going to be. So it worked out for the better. Yeah,
for sure. The rookie sophomore Rising Stars game, obviously this format was changed in years past. We've seen things like the World versus Team USA. We've seen the rookies versus sophomores, although we haven't seen that in quite a long time. We've seen the mixing of the two, and it seems like this new format, which is a tournament style, which puts about 7 or 8 rookies and sophomores along with G League players onto one team, in terms of a mix. And there's 4 separate teams that essentially participate in this event. So the tournament style, it had the 4 captains: Worthy, Peyton, Team Barry, and also
Thomas.
Yes, Isaiah Thomas. How can I forget Isaiah Thomas? Yeah, and so you had Isaiah Thomas, Rick Barry, James Worthy, and Gary Payton. And right off the bat, I remember looking at the teams and kind of how they were put together. And I thought we would see Worthy and Payton in the finals. We didn't, but nonetheless, man, this was an entertaining challenge. So tell me what your thoughts were about it.
I didn't like it. I 100% didn't like it. I did, so I guess it's always going to come down to player personnel when they have like the rookies versus the sophomores, or like USA versus the World. So I guess with the personnel, and you're trying to keep it fresh and keep the changes of the way that the game is played. I didn't like it for the simple fact that they had the teams split up into the 4 teams. One team was automatically going to be eliminated immediately. Therefore, all of the players on that particular team, if there was one star, you weren't going to see him for the rest of the night. And then so to have a game or to have the two games back to back, and then between the final game, that challenge that they put in there, like they incorporated with the celebrity game, I didn't like that either. Like I felt that if they wanted to do like some type of a challenge that could have been done during the halftime of a regular game, I would have rather have preferred to see that game just, either rookies versus sophomores or what, however team format they could have did. They could have even put the team together and let the let the captains pick the team. But the idea of, all of this talent on the floor together, but you only seeing like one star per team, because as you kind of see, every team had the one star. They had the LaMelo, they had the Cade Cunningham, they had the Ant. Like the idea that the teams were all separated like that, it kind of took away from the fun of what the All-Star game is, for all of these players to play together in one singular game. So for me, I would rather not like to see this format again.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to be on the other side of this. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought both games came down to the wire. And I thought that listen, at the end of the day, when we look at rookies, it's a crapshoot. You never know 2, 3, 5 years down the line who's going to pan out, who's going to be a superstar. I know the instant superstars like LaMelo are there. These guys have staying power, and barring any major injury, they're on their way to superstardom. And so that's what I think of when I think of, Anthony Edwards and LaMelo and, some of these other guys. But I'll be honest with you, like this really shined for me with Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain showed that he is not just some sidekick to Ja Morant. Like he is a key contributor. It's like wherever he plays and whatever he does, he seems to be a thorn in people's side. And so he kind of rose up. And even though maybe points wise, he wasn't the guy, I know Cade Cunningham ended up winning the MVP, which is well deserved. He looked different out there too. And it's like, guys like Jalen Green, and we'll get into him in the dunk contest as well. But guys like Jalen Green, to me, like this shows how it's just another level to what you can do. Like when you get on the court and you get an opportunity to shine with your peers and you kind of are just in the weeds, you're kind of a guy that's just another guy on the team and kind of just picking up your shots. Then it kind of lets people know like, okay, well, maybe we pegged this guy a little too high for what we thought he could potentially be. So I wasn't mad at this at all. I think that, the tournament style and then adding in, a couple of the extras. I thought that they gave the rookies an advantage in the skills competition the next night by, doing some of these events that they were going to do in the skills competition. I thought that was weird that they did that. But all in all, man, it didn't seem like the night dragged at all. The only thing that I had was that I wish that they had played the final game to 50 as well. I know they were doing, something. I don't know where they went to 25 or 24 for Kobe. I'm not sure what it was, but like to me, shortening that game, I would have liked to see that game kind of play out a little longer than it did.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. So I do like the idea of the competition standpoint about how they went to 50. But I feel like if they could have incorporated that somehow in a singular game, I can get why there would be an agreement for that. But just overall, like in that particular game, I'm looking more so of from a fun standpoint, as well as the game itself. Because the way how the actual All-Star game itself, which we'll get into as far as a competition standpoint, we'll get into that, after we cover the rest of the events and this god awful dunk contest.
God awful dunk contest.
Yeah. So I mean, with that being said, I mean, I think we pretty much, done on the Rising Stars. So I mean, we can just get to the main events on Saturday and Sunday nights. Starting with the skills challenge.
Yeah. So the skills challenge, Obviously, we mentioned the format had changed a little bit. I thought it was very interesting. They let every single player go and do the modules. And this is what I told you, man. Like the skills competition actually drew out a little longer than I liked it to because I had talked about how in the past with that relay race or the race that they had going on, this competition was short. So it went from too short to too long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really thought that they were going to allow like each individual player to pick a particular event.
Right.
And that's how they would compete. And then at the end, it would just be, to shoot to see who wins the final. But the way they did it, letting every single player go in every single module was just, a little long and drawn out.
Yeah.
I think, of course, my pick won, the Cavaliers home team.
Yeah.
I told you, I think that Evan Mobley, for one, impressed a lot of people.
He absolutely did.
He could shoot the way he do, but he got that in his bag. I think Darius Garland, people and goes into what I'll mention him in the All-Star game in a little bit as well. But Darius Garland is a star. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think you mentioned he may be a one and done player, but I hope after this weekend you see that this guy has the potential to have staying power in this game and in this league.
Oh no, I mean I definitely feel that he's gonna have staying power in the league. I just felt it was gonna be a one and done for the All-Star games, just only due to like the fan votings and who would be remaining from the fan votes. I think it would just be hard for him to be a repeat All-Star. But as far as the skills challenge, as you said, like it did go on a little bit longer. I don't pretty much care about that event. It's just kind of like the warm-up act. The Antetokounmpos, they were my pick. They didn't win. You were spot on. You were spot on with your guess with the Cavs. I mean, the home team, they took it. I didn't have any faith in them. To me, it was one of those things where like now I realized I was just kind of picking one of my favorites in the NBA. I like Giannis in his story. I like his game. And this was just an opportunity for him to give his brother some shine to get them off of his payroll. So like, I think he was bringing his brothers out. He was like, man, y'all got to go out here and make a name for yourselves. And they didn't. Like it was a letdown.
They didn't.
Yeah, it was a letdown.
Yeah, look, Giannis looked mad. Giannis looked mad. And I think Dwayne Wade was speaking to it during the broadcast.
Absolutely.
It looked like he definitely was going to give his brothers an ass whooping in the locker room for embarrassing
both of them, older and younger. But like I say, I mean, I think we both kind of, feel the same way that event kind of dragged out a little bit longer than it normally does. But as far as the format, I mean, personally, I don't care about the skills challenge. They can keep changing that up. I really don't have any feelings towards that whatsoever.
Like I said, the skills competition, I like it. I think that it does, add some excitement. Everyone loves a half court shot. Everyone has tried a half court shot in their life if they've picked up a basketball. So there's elements in there, like I said, that just speak to, what basketball is all about when you're just having fun. Like I say, the warm-up act. Yeah. Well, obviously the main event of the night, we're going to highlight, which is the 3-point contest. In my opinion, and I said this, and then I heard them saying it all Saturday night. And that's why, like, I've been saying this for years, by the way, that I think that the 3-point competition should end the night. And apparently a lot of these announcers got the memo, and they kept talking about it all Saturday night. So it was very interesting to see somebody out there listening. But yeah, the 3-point competition, it did not fail, in terms of entertainment wise. I know for you had to be heated. But at the same time, it's what you said it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? Karl Anthony Towns walked away with the trophy, and said he wants to be known as the best big man shooter in the game. I do believe that title, if I'm not mistaken, is Dirk Nowitzki. I think, we would consider him probably the best big man shooter. If you want to throw Larry Bird as a big man, I mean, he's a forward, he's a wing kind of, but you know, he's another, you know, big man shooter, obviously at 6'9". But you know, that's kind of like, you know, a cheat code to say that. But yeah, I mean, you know, what were your thoughts, first of all, as the competition was going on? And then obviously once you saw the Cat won it, you know, did you break any furniture?
No, like, okay, so overall it was definitely the highlight of the night. That, I mean, that was the best part of Saturday nights. And like I said, once again, we'll get to that god awful dunk contest in just a second. But just touching it up, it was something that was discussed on, I want to say it was, I want to say it was First Take, but I know it was Stephen A. Smith who had this opinion, and we'll touch on that, because I was like you. We had the conversation of where we feel like they should be changing the dunk contest, the position of the dunk contest and the 3-point contest, and make the 3-point contest finished. But the way as of right now, I'm gonna go against what I said, and like I said, we'll touch on that in a second. But the 3-point contest kind of went exactly almost as I felt like I called Karl Anthony Towns, that he was going to somehow win this event and just continue to mess up basketball for big man around, because I'm waiting for the big man to come back, but yet they keep going back behind his 3-point line, and it's irritating me to my core. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely 100% entertainment to see, because when cats can shoot, it just reminds me of, you know, not that we played on a high level or anything like that, but it just reminded me of like when we used to play and used to step behind, like as soon as you would step over half court, like I would be in your grill, and you used to get mad and just be like, man, why are you guarding me out here? Because I'm not about to let you shoot out here. And it just irritates me that these cats can take it to this level, and it's just dangerous. It is dangerous the way they shooting right now, because you can't stop it, because no one is going to pick up, you know, essentially from full court anymore. Like, that's just not going to happen. But that's for a whole nother conversation. But just getting back to the 3-point contest, I mean, my boy Luke Kennard, like I say, I wanted the Clippers to come out and represent. He did. He, you know, finished in second, came up a little short. Karl Anthony Towns finished it just pretty much as I thought it was going to be. I didn't want it to be, but that's what happened.
Yeah, and so, I mean, both of your picks. I believe you said that you could see Trey and Cat in the finals. I mean, and it's weird, like I said, how they format this contest, you know, by only going 2 rounds. It's a travesty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, they need to, you know, go back to having 2 shooters on the other end, split screen, or blend the screens in some kind of way, and let players shoot and go in multiple rounds. Because I mean, CJ McCollum was a guy that I had, and he just missed the cutoff. And I kind of felt like I said, there was some shooters out there. Trey obviously, you know, shot very well in the first round, and had the potential to get on a roll and win that. But Cat just, you know, going first, I think he was under no pressure. Once he made it to the final round, he was like, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Let me just continue to shoot that thing. And he did, to the tune of, I think he finished with 25 or 26 in that second round, and ended up, you know, winning by a decent margin. But Luke Kennard, he was a guy that I picked to be in the finals against CJ McCollum. And it was because, like I said, I mean, Luke Kennard, for one, he's a gamer, you know, and for two, that left-handed shot, it's just, you know, where he was on the rack and how he would get to the rack and get his shots off. It was just a fluid process for him. And that's when you saw that first round that he put up, clearly showed the talent that guy has from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely picked out his spots. I mean, you know, the one thing about a shooter is they know where their spots want to be, which is why CJ kind of, you know, like I felt like he wasn't picking his spots right. Like, I don't know if you was looking. I think it was when he was at the top of the key, and then he
went on the other side of it, which was
it was like he was off of where he would normally want to be shooting from in a game like situation, which was throwing off his rhythm. So I think CJ kind of shot himself in the foot as far as the contest goes. I mean, hopefully, with the players that were out there, I would like to see him out there again and what I'm saying, and try to represent for now the Pelicans. He didn't get to represent for Portland, but I mean, I would definitely like to see him go out there and repeat himself. Karl Anthony Townsend said he's done with it. I kind of like to see the players lose they throne. Like, I want to see somebody dethrone them. As much as I don't want to see him out there again, I would like to see him come out next year and see if someone can take the crown from him. But we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, he gonna take his crown and run, because I tell you right now, he didn't have no business in that competition. But
man.
All right, let's move on to the dunk contest, and I'm gonna intro the dunk contest because honestly, man. Here's the thing. I know, everyone is saying this is the worst dunk contest ever, blah, blah. But I said it. I said, y'all have to figure out ways, because you know what it is, man? These kids, the creativity is lacking. Every dunk has been done. And what I hate is when people compare, these Instagram dunk contests and these dunk contests, gyms and stuff like that, when they're like, yeah, I think it was Charles Barkley or Stephen A. Smith that came up with the analogy of grabbing neighborhood guys and having them, compete or, doing a bigger purse. It doesn't matter. And they do this every year. And the first thing they say when there's a spectacular dunk on Saturday or on Sunday All-Star game on Sunday night, the first thing they say when they see the first spectacular dunk is, that's better than anything anybody did in the dunk contest. They say it every year. They say it every single year. And so it's just, to me, they're the Aaron Gordons, the Zach LaVines of the world. These are guys, as I mentioned before, they're not superstars. They're not, household names in that aspect, but they're just different jumpers. And the fact is that, a guy like Ja Morant too, he's just a different jumper. And so, the dunk contest, I know it was a disappointment for most people. I would say, definitely to me, Jalen Green underperformed. He had dunks, man, that if he would have hit him on the first try, I think he would have been in that category of just a different jumper. But, once again, here's a kid, bright lights, big stage, and for some reason, you can't get these dunks down. And so, obviously, give me your thoughts, because, I do have plenty more, but I just want to hear what you thought about the contest as a whole.
Right. So first off, I'm gonna give credit when credit is deserved. And I mean, you made the analogy that, these dunkers, they usually, for a couple year, entry players that come into the league that are trying to make a name for themselves. So you did point that out, and I had to go back and look and be like, yeah, you know what? He was right. It is like these new players who've been in the league for 2-3 years, who's still trying to make a name for themselves. Basically, as everybody, because all weekend, all I was seeing, I saw more highlights of Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine's dunks more than anything. And the reason why they gonna say, like, when you see an All-Star game, they gonna say, this dunk was better than the dunks in a dunk contest, is because they're the All-Stars that are, these are the best players in the NBA who are making those dunks. And now the analogy got to be, well, this is who should have been in the dunk contest. But as far as the event itself, it was definitely one of the worst that I've seen from a standpoint. So one of the worst dunk attempts that we seen was the Birdman. I know that's one of the ones that everybody likes to go back to. This dunk contest was 4 Birdmans all in one. And basically they had to pick. And no disrespect to the Birdman. I know I felt like, he was trying to go out there and make a name for himself. So, I'll give him credit for going out there. But at the end of the day, it just didn't work out for him. And that's how this dunk contest was. My pick won, but I don't want to take credit for it because the dunk contest was just that garbage. Like, I don't understand, like, for all the dunks that I was missing. And I told you with Jalen Green and Cole Anthony, like, I felt like they're in-game dunkers. I do, however, want to say, I really wish Cole Anthony would have made that first dunk, because when he put on some Timbs, I was like, this dude really ain't finna dunk in no Timbs. So
yeah, and listen, like you touching on that, I want to get to that. That was one of my points. Because like to me, and I heard Roz Godon Woode, she was on the NBA Countdown show or their show or whatever they do on ESPN, and she was like, "Oh, if you're not from New York, you wouldn't understand." And Matt Barnes was like, he's like, "Yeah, I just like for some reason." He was like, if this was in Madison Square Garden, yes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If this is in New York, yes. But, you're in Cleveland. You're, what I'm saying? You bring out your dad, which we think you're going to do something, essentially special with your dad. And it ends up, just kind of being you putting on some Timbs. And it reminds me, I don't know if you remember, the name of this dude, but he's six, very, very prominent into my memory. And it was a cat we went to high school with. So your boy Mark from back in the day used to hang out with a kid named what's his name? Terrence. I can't remember his name right now.
Yes,
but
yes.
This dude, he used to be kind of a heralded like lunchtime player, and he would play in his Timbs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, bro, like immediately I went to Above the Rim, with Birdman and Tupac, playing, Birdie. And I'm like, this is what drug dealers do. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that one drug dealer, that's always by the courts, he's slanging and he's like, little man, let me see the ball real quick. You think I could dunk in these Timbs? You know what I'm saying? That's what it, kind of looked like to me. Like it was like, homie, when he had that bag, I thought he was going to pull a Glock out of that bag, you know what I'm saying? And perform a robbery like right after, and I'm doing a lot of stereotyping this I mean, I might have to blurt that out, you know what I'm saying? But no, for real, like it just gave me, a very different vibe, about like a street vibe to what they was trying to do when he did it. I think I put up on my Facebook, like, homie about to dunk in some ankle weights, because that's what dunking in Timbs feels like.
Man, listen, as soon as he pulled them out, like with both of us on our East Coast vibe that we used to, saying, as far as just music in general, once he put out the Timbs, we already knew what was finna happen. But like you said, he was just in the wrong city to do it, because I know the crowd was getting restless and they didn't get the reference. So for them, they was just like, this dude, we got to sit here and wait for this dude to put on some boots to dunk. Like, they didn't get the reference. So yeah, it would have been better if he would have had an opportunity for that to have been in New York. It wasn't. He was in a dunk contest now, and that's what we got. But so back to the point that I wanted to make. And you kind of touched on it, or you kind of made reference to it. So Stephen A. Smith went on a rant as far as like how much he just his disapproval for the dunk contest. He also made, because and now that I do remember Charles Barkley making the same reference before. I think they are going to have to make some changes and let outside cats, like, it's going to have to be some kind of a dunk off prior to, like, not associated with the NBA, but basically associated with the NBA, to pick at least, 4 to 5 players that can just, worldwide. Because like we say, it's cats in New York, it's cats here in Venice, it's cats in Long Beach, and that can jump. They just hoop and they can jump. So if it's a dunk contest, why leave it to just NBA players? Like, if we signing up to see an event, let's just see the best dunkers that we can have to offer. Now, an NBA player can co-sign for this particular player, and they can have like a team or something, basically to have some type of a reference to the NBA. But if the best dunkers in the NBA are not going to come out and sign up for this, we need to see the best dunkers that just basketball in general need to offer. Maybe college players, like, if we not going to use just street cats. Like, I'm sure there's some college players out there that can hoop. Bring in somebody that's just going to make the event worth watching. Otherwise, scrap it. like, you know what I'm saying, or change that order. But I don't think like the history of the NBA, the 3-point contest is like the dunk contest has always been the crowd pleaser and the showstopper of that event. They have to fix it. They just have to fix it, because this was the worst of the worst.
Listen, and I'm telling you, it's the age of the internet that is killing us.
Yeah.
Killing us, because at the end of the day, the reason why the dunk contest captivated us the way it did, right, is because where else were we going to see dunks? Where else were we going to see this type of environment of a contest, right? And I want to tell you that, you know, people put on all-star games, celebrity games, all kind of games all throughout the years, right? And it seems like for some reason, no one can get it quite like the NBA when it comes to attention grabbing. Doesn't matter how many celebrities you put in your all-star game, doesn't matter, right? The NBA does it the best. Now with the dunk contest, I preferenced this comment to open this up, and I said, you know, these Instagram dunkers, right? We don't see how many takes they're getting, because they're only uploading the one that went in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and these guys are in 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness, you know, where maybe there's about 40 or 50 people lined up around the sideline. You get into a whole different stratosphere when you walk into these arenas and there's 18,000 people waiting on you to show them something that they've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? And I said, for the small percentage of people who can even dunk a basketball or have ever dunked a basketball in their life, right? These are the majority of the people that are talking shit about the dunk contest that couldn't go out there and put a dunk between their legs or 360 or anything like that. So this is where it kind of gets me a little peeved about, you know, players being scrutinized by not coming out with something that you've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, allow these dudes to take let them take performance enhancing drugs then, if you want to see them do something that you've never seen before. Because outside of growing wings out the back of your fucking asshole, you are not going to be able to do a dunk that no one has seen. You know, there's a 720 out there, right? A guy did a 720. We've never seen that in a dunk contest. You know how hard it is to do a 720? Like I've seen a guy go between both legs. You know what I'm saying? We're waiting on the first two-hand dunk from the free throw line. That hasn't been done. You know what I'm saying? So there's dunks out there that haven't been done, but they're also not humanly possible to do.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to.
Let me just land on this last point. Please, because this is where I'm telling people, right? Juan Toscano Anderson, he's the one that I want to point out about this. Going back to the dunk contest, Juan Toscano Anderson. First off, shout out to him, because he put on Mexico. You know what I'm saying? He had the Mexican flag. The shoes was Mexico. You know what I'm saying? My family was going nuts, because for y'all who know me know, you know, my family's Mexican, and like, you know, we respect that, you know, showing your heritage. But the thing is that Juan Toscano Anderson had no business being in this dunk competition. You know what I'm saying? You ever been at a hotel, right? And you paid a little less money than your friend paid for his hotel, right? But y'all staying in the same hotel, but y'all not quite in the same tower, right? He's in this tower and you in that tower, right? So you go into the elevator, you say, hey man, you know what I'm saying? What floor are you going to, man? I'm about to hop in the elevator right now, right? And he say, oh, I'm going up to floor 42, right? And you look at the buttons on your elevator docket and you like, well, I ain't got no 42 in my elevator. That's what it was like watching Juan Toscano Anderson dunk with some of these guys. You know what I'm saying? You just don't get to a certain level. Like, he was trying, I think, one dunk, and it just looked sad because he was just literally throwing his arm up there. And it was like, bro, you can keep wishing that your elevator just don't go up to the penthouse.
Yeah, and that's how I felt like with almost all of the dunks. Like I said, Obi basically just came out and said, you know, I'm just gonna make this dunk because everybody else is missing. So it kind of took, like, he didn't have to do anything spectacular to win. All he had to do was make a dunk on the first attempt. And so, like, to reference back to what you were saying, as far as the dunks that haven't been seen before, we don't necessarily need to see an unbelievable dunk. I mean, you know, we've seen in the past where people have been taking old dunks from old dunk contests and just changing them up a little bit. Like, for example, going back to Zach LaVine dunked from the free throw line. When he dunked from the free throw line, the first time, because he did it twice, the first time he dunked from the free throw line and he like almost windmilled it. And then it was another time when he dunked from the he stepped past the free throw line and he put it between the legs. So if you're going to reference to an old dunk like that, like I say, it's about the show. You can come out with your flag and represent your country and do all that and put on Timbs and stuff like that, as long as it's quick. Because we can even go back to the dunk contest. I believe we saw this one live. I want to say we saw this one live when it was Dwight Howard versus Nate Robinson.
Oh my God, yes.
That
hour-long dunk contest, that was, yeah.
Listen, I mean, as far as the show, sometimes like with the show as a part of the dunk, we get it. But what they put on this show and they made the dunks on the first attempt. When you trying to throw a lob to yourself and you jump 7 times before you even attempt the dunk, we already like the interest is already gone. It's just gone. So like, I just think they need to figure out a way to get better dunkers. If we're going to use the NBA cats, just make sure the dunks, I don't know how a resume can be, because we got cats who only had 6 dunks for the whole year and they in a contest. I don't get that. And Toscano Anderson,
we know that's out of playing time. Like we said, a lot of these guys, it's out of playing time. These are not your stars. These are guys that are getting opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think there has to be a resume. There should be a resume for a body of work for you to be able to get into a dunk contest. Like, you have to have there just has to be something. There just has to be a change. We can't see this no more.
I think honestly, like, how you fix it, right, is you got to go back to old school. You know what I'm saying? And not old school in the sense of how they did it in the past, but you got to go back to dunk lines. You know what I'm saying? Where you just let, you know what I'm saying, these guys stand in a line and they do one dunk after the other. Each person gets an opportunity. And if you miss the dunk in that opportunity, then guess what? You got a 0 for that round. You know what I'm saying? You don't get, and there's just, for each round, right? One person goes, and whoever has the most spectacular dunk get the most points. Yeah. You know, they need to do something like that, because at this point, like, bringing in outside dunkers, like I mentioned, bro, these dudes have not been in crowds of 18 to 20,000 people. Your neighborhood homie, you know what I'm saying? There's a such thing as stage fright. And that's why a lot of these dudes are missing the dunks. People don't realize that. A lot of these dudes are missing the dunks, for one, because they're not stars. They're not used to the bright lights and the microscope being on them that much. Jalen Green was the headliner of this dunk contest. I don't know if you recognize. Right. He went last. He was the, you know what I'm saying, the one that got the biggest ovation when they announced the dunkers and everything like that. So they really put him on the billing as a guy that they were trying to sell for this event. And the lights was just too bright for him. Because like I mentioned, if he makes any one of those dunks, he's changing your mind because of the way that he can jump.
Yeah. So to kind of close this out, you know, we've already kind of touched on this a lot. I think the reason why everybody is talking about outside dunkers coming in is because it was that disappointing. So it's like, it's almost to the point to where it's like we have to disrespect the NBA players and say, like, man, we need some cats from down the street to come in and jump in order for for them to step their game up. Right. I'm hopeful that the NBA is going to fix it. I think with the travesty that happened, and it, you know, that was like one of the biggest talks about, like, as far as the one of the most, you know, the dunk contest is supposed to be the Saturday night headliner, and the fact that it bombed the way that it did. I definitely feel like some changes are going to be made. I'm you know, already kind of looking ahead. I'm looking forward to a better dunk contest for 2023. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Like, I think Adam Silver is gonna figure out a way to make it better, to where something like this is not gonna happen again, because this it was just a shame. It was just a shame.
Yeah, they had Kareem. They had the cat walking out on them. Oh man. Well, let's move on. You know, to the All-Star game, the events of Sunday night, of course, and as we mentioned, you know, this game. And I'm loving the format change. I don't know how you feeling about it. of the target score in the fourth quarter being 24 points out, from the highest total going, into the fourth quarter. I think it kind of lends to, first of all, honoring Kobe and the victims, of that helicopter crash that happened a couple of years ago. R.I.P. Kobe, R.I.P. Gianna, and the rest of those victims. But, more importantly, it speaks to the competitiveness, naming this trophy, naming the MVP trophy after the, Kobe Bryant was a heck of an honor. I know this was one of his favorite games to play in. I mean, Kobe was such a showman and a guy that, really relished being on the stage with the best and just always, showed heart and determination and giving the fans exactly what they wanted. I think it was one year him and Dwayne Wade, like Dwayne ended up breaking his nose on the final day of the All-Star game. And that's how serious these cats were taking it back in those days. I think, rightfully so, LeBron James has tended to have taken the same mantle because he hasn't lost an All-Star game yet. And I was thinking about it. I was like, we did kind of pick a winner once we knew that he had the players that he had. But listen, this was an entertaining game, was it not?
It was 100% entertainment game, and I've never not said an All-Star game has not been entertainment. I believe every year the All-Star game is entertainment because once again I'm looking at it from a fun perspective, like all the players just kind of coming together. You get the oohs and the ahs, and just to see all the players playing with each other, playing on a team that they are not likely ever going to play for again. As far as all of the stars on one team, I look at it from that standpoint. Now, piggybacking on what you just said, as far as the format, to honor Kobe, they can keep that. I actually like that because it puts competition in towards the fourth quarter when they put that combined score, and then the total score is kind of somewhat close. Because I think when they put the after the end of the first three quarters, it was only a 1 point difference. So one team had the score 24, one team had the score 25 points, or 25 or 26, something, however that came out. But you know what, like Steph, man, you can't put into words what he did in an All-Star game. Granted, the defense is not on him, but once again, when you talk about just the skill set of what it takes to make a three-pointer, because almost every arena everywhere has had at some point in a game where they bring somebody from the stands to shoot a three to try to win $100,000 and they miss it terribly. And this dude is just, the way he shoots is just like, he's to the point to where, like, I used to feel like when Jordan used to play, even though you watch old games and you see that Jordan missed shots, but it felt like every time he was going to shoot the ball, you felt that he was going to make it. And that's how Steph is with his threes. It's like every time he looks at that rim, you feel like it's just about to go in. And when I say dude put on a show, he put on a show that absolutely, listen, that performance is going to be one of the most memorable performances from an individual player for a long time. I expect the All-Star game to be played over the summer at least 10 times.
Right.
And I mean, Steph just put on an absolute clinic, to the point to where it was two shots in particular that stick out the most to me. It was one where he pretty much stepped right past half court and shot it. Trey kind of jumped past him and he pump faked it and then threw it up. When he threw it up, he turned around and wasn't even looking at the rim. And then he kind of did that on the sideline. But when he threw up the half court shot, Trey kind of looked at him like almost like just in envy, and Trey is a good 3-point shooter himself. But to see that look on his face was like, I cannot believe he just did that. It was just one after another. Every time he was throwing up the ball, it was just like, man, wow. Like Steph put on a show and was 100% deserving of winning that All-Star game MVP.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was hoping that Steph got the record. For those of you who don't know, Anthony Davis holds the record for the most points in an All-Star game. I believe it was 2017. He scored 51. It was either 51 or 53, something like that.
I thought it was 50.
No, it was 51. It was 51, I believe.
Okay.
You can fact check after this. It was 51 because they would have said he tied for the most, but no, he didn't have the most. He was on target. And I honestly thought he was gonna hit the game winner the way he was going. But how fitting
he got tired.
Yeah, how fitting that LeBron James hits the final shot in Cleveland. I think I heard that Cleveland, this is for you all damn weekend. And that's really what stood out to me more than anything this weekend. Obviously, the performance of Steph was spectacular, but LeBron Cleveland sentiments, LeBron kind of putting out there that he's going to play where his son plays, for his last year. And listen, Cleveland is a good team, but there's nobody that thinks that over the next year or two, the Cleveland's winning a title. So the fact that they're not going to sneak up on anybody, over these next couple of years, people are going to really, really be putting an eye on them, means that they may get a high draft pick, by 2024 when Bronny James is eligible for the draft. And, Bronny isn't the number one guy in his class right now. He isn't a shoe-in number one pick like his father was. He's not the player his father was, obviously. I mean, who is? Who's gonna be? We kind of talk about, Jordan's kids, same thing. Them kids wasn't even gonna sniff nowhere near what their father did. So the pressure, and so now knowing that LeBron has put that out there, it just seems very fitting that Cleveland would be the destination that he would end his career and his son would start his. And so I really got that sentiment all over Sunday night, and the fact that LeBron hit that final shot just kind of captivated it. Some other things that kind of was brought to my attention, first time All-Stars, Van Vliet didn't really get an opportunity to play that much. Didn't get, a real opportunity to play, that much. And I want to say Eric Spoelstra was the coach. So maybe that was by design as far as the Jimmy Butler situation.
Probably.
Yeah, Jimmy, his player, Jimmy probably said, fuck that, I don't really want to play that much anyway. But, guys like Levine, Van Vliet, Gobert, Karl Towns, these are all guys that, they're young guys, and they're kind of in that area of their prime, and they weren't getting a lot of tick in this All-Star game. I thought that we saw a lot of Jared Allen and a lot of Darius Garland, and I think it was to cater to the fans for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was definitely fan catered. You had two home court players and one hometown hero. I felt like LeBron never exited the game. I swear, I felt like every time he turned around, he was in the game holding on to some possessions. But then, it was
6 minutes. He played 36 minutes.
Listen, that's the one unfortunate thing when it comes to the All-Star weekend. That not all of the players is going to get the team. The playing time is never going to be evenly matched. I know there have been certain situations where, like, for example, you had, I think it was when Boston Celtics when they had pretty much like everybody was an All-Star. They had the whole team out there, you might remember what I'm talking about. I remember Greg Popovich was coaching the team, and he put basically 4 players from one team and like Tim Duncan.
That was the year that the 4 Warriors made it. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, along with Tim Duncan.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at like something like that, like, it's always going to be one particular person's or players that's going to take over the event. The teams is, one player. I mean, you see Chris Paul just got in just for a few minutes because of an unfortunate hand injury that was recently announced. So it was just kind of, to get out there and, basically just to show that, like, these players are all-stars. They're going to get their minutes, but, the teams is never going to evenly players are not going to ever get as much playing time. Like I say, for the most part, when most of them talk, it's just an honor to be out there, an honor and a privilege to be out there. So I don't think too many people are complaining about the playing time or lack of, because at the end of the day, you have to, understand that from a business perspective is to give the fans the show. And like I say, once again, I think they got it. Like, I don't think anyone should.
Listen, like, you look at these minutes breakdown, you're right. You're absolutely right. But they're Trae Young and Ja Morant are fan voted players. They weren't in there. Yeah. You know who was in there? LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo did get a lot of minutes.
Yeah,
he did get a lot of minutes. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying like I've said it. Even when it came to the rookies sophomore, the Rising Stars Challenge, right? Cream is going to rise to the top, right? And the fact of the matter is that LaMelo Ball on a floor, and at a certain point, his highest peak is above Trae's. You know what I'm saying? His highest peak is, it's above Ja Morant's. And so, don't get me wrong. Like we can look back in the archives. I'm telling you right now, Michael Jordan didn't play less than 20 minutes in the All-Star game when he was in his prime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You make a way to make yourself visible. Steph and LeBron are the elder statesmen in these games, and they played the most minutes. They're the ones. And I said this is LeBron and Steph's story. This is the Larry and Magic of our generation. This is the two kind of opposites. On one end, it's their story. And so even with Giannis, who had a fantastic game, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And put up 30 points. He was nowhere near contention of being announced the MVP. It was either going to be Joel Embiid, it was going to be Steph Curry, depending on who won it, or it was going to be LeBron. And I think we kind of knew that, once we got down to the end of the game. But I just thought it was interesting to see LaMelo, a replacement, all-star on the floor in crunch time. And Jason Tatum, nowhere to be found. Luka Doncic, I don't know what was going on with him, but nowhere to be found. These are guys like, you're in an all-star game. So yeah, it's kind of hard for the stars to shine among stars. You already know. I mean, Steph is my guy. So I was happy to see what he did. I actually thought that they set the table for this because he was getting booed all weekend.
Him and Draymond. Him and Draymond was getting booed, and
in any
situation, I don't know if he
Cleveland and there's no love lost between Cleveland and the Warriors, even though those years are not very prevalent as they was. So I think Steph was relishing the idea of turning those boos into cheers. And
absolutely.
He did that.
Absolutely. But yeah, to kind of close out, everything that you were saying. I mean, all in all, I felt it was a good All-Star weekend. Steph walking away with the well-deserved MVP. It was just a good weekend, with the exception of the dunk contest. We gotta tighten that up. We gotta fix it, because you got to think, if the dunk contest was a major success, this would have been an awesome All-Star weekend to remember. But unfortunately, it's gonna have that stain. But I mean, me personally, I think the showmanship of Steph Curry and LeBron for that weekend kind of superseded everything, and made the weekend a success in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.